Hey, welcome to another edition of the House of Beat podcast. I'm Corey. This is Tommy. Today we're talking about our top 5 Super Bowl commercials from this past weekend's Super Bowl. So join us in a moment as we discuss. Hey, and welcome back. So today we're talking about our top 5 Super Bowl commercials from this year's game. So overall, what were your impressions of the commercials this year?
Well, just to let everybody know too, we're going to be focusing mainly on the products and services commercials as opposed to movie trailers. We're going to get into talking about movie trailers a little later, but for now, just there wasn't a lot this year that really seemed to uh, really get my attention. There were a few here and there, a few gems, but overall, it was for me a yawn fest with the commercials. We had a little difficulty, at least during the Super Bowl itself, with some streaming issues for when we were
Right. Yeah.
trying to
So
watch.
so the party we were at, they didn't have cable set up on both the TVs. So the room we were in, we were using a stream, the NBC streaming app to watch the game, and we didn't realize at the time, but we missed like half the commercials as they were happening. Um,
And some good ones too. But
but through the miracle of the YouTubes that you're watching us on, we were able to review everything and be able to make our list.
I don't know if I saw
Well, I
everything.
I I watched what said was the Super Bowl commercials, whether it was everything or not, who knows? But we'll see. All right, so start with number 5 on Tommy's list.
As I have my list right now, because it's been shifting up until like about 10 minutes ago. The fifth one that really made me laugh, it caught my attention, was the Sprint commercial that had the robot Evelyn that wound up making fun of the guy for using Verizon instead of Sprint, and then she started laughing at him, and all. He goes to the store to switch over to Sprint, and the guy asks him why are you here? And he's like, my coworkers are making fun of me. That's just one that made me laugh, so I had put that in at my number 5.
Well, my number 5 was the exact same commercial.
Oh,
Sprint robots laughing.
Sprint robots laughing.
So so even though we weren't planning on doing a consensus, I don't know, maybe we're on the same wavelength here, and
Could
there's going to
be,
be some consensus here.
could be. We got similar beards.
Okay. All right.
So what was then your number 4?
My number 4 was Alexa loses her voice, and they had the celebrities fill in. I believe they had Gordon Ramsay,
Damn.
um,
It's a female singer.
a
Yeah.
female rapper that I don't know who it was. We'll have to look it up if you want to prove how.
I don't know that.
Oh,
Uh,
unfortunately, we have one of those devices here in the studio. So as I said her name, she decided to chime in.
for now, we'll just refer to her as Dot. So it won't activate during the recording. So the Dot commercial, I didn't actually have that in my list, only because I saw the exact same commercial prior to the
See,
Super
I
Bowl.
I hadn't seen it ahead of time, so
So it probably would have made my top, especially with Anthony Hopkins at the very
yes,
end. It was a
yes.
little creepy and it was weird, but it was funny. It was a good commercial. That's one of my honorable mentions.
Okay. So what
Uh,
was number 4 on your list?
my number 4 was the red M&M, which finds a lucky penny, picks it up, and becomes Danny DeVito. I had a laugh with that, especially as he's running around the streets. Do you want to eat me? Do you want to eat me? And I don't know. And then he gets hit by a bus, of course, too. So I had to top that off, right?
Yeah, that was in my honorable mentions. It didn't make my top 5.
All right.
All right, number 3.
My number 3, boy, and I went back and forth with this one to be possibly higher, but with David Harbour and the Tide commercials, there were a series of them. So I'm kind of looking at them together because they set it up with this is a Tide ad, which some people thought was Tide Dad, but it's a Tide ad. And nope, it's not a funny beer commercial. It's a Tide ad. But the payoff for me that really made me laugh is with that setup, the actual commercial where they show the Old Spice guy, and he's sitting on the horse, and it's from a previous year's Super Bowl. I'm not sure which one, but it's the same exact ad starting out that way. And then instead of materializing in his hand the Old Spice, it was the Tide. And then they pan the camera back, and you see sitting on this like extendedly long horse is there's David Harbour saying Tide ad. And that just, I thought it was so clever, and
Yeah,
I really like
I'm
that.
honestly I didn't realize that it was a series of them. I watched it online because it was one that we didn't catch during the game live. So it was the YouTube video I saw had them all edited together. So I assumed it was just one long ad.
Well, and with that too, at the very end, they're doing the whistle uh, for Old Spice, but it goes Tide ad, and it just everything about
Right.
that I just thought it was really clever, and it made me laugh. So I really appreciated that. Am I going to buy Tide now because of it? Probably not, but
Gain tastes better anyways,
yeah, yeah,
and that is all we're going to talk about that,
don't
at least
kids,
in this
no,
era.
don't do it. But yep, that was my number three. What was your number three?
My number three, and by the way, the David Harbour one was a great ad. It may show up later. Just saying. My number three was Eli Manning and Odell Beckham Jr. of the New York Giants. It was an NFL commercial for future touchdown dances, and they did the whole routine from Dirty Dancing
Should we try that now? No.
with Eli doing the Patrick Swayze part
Yeah.
and OBJ doing the Jennifer Grey part. Um, Eli's, whether you think he's a good quarterback or not, um, you know, I think he's a good quarterback. He's not great, but that aside, he's just got that dorky little brother feel to him because he's, his the second quarterback or third quarterback in the family if you count his dad, but he's the younger brother and he always has that dorky younger brother feel to him. But I thought he was awesome and just them together, it was just a perfect combination, made for a really good commercial.
It was funny. I appreciated that, but it didn't make my list. In part, and I know this is stupid, but in part because it's like you're playing a commercial for something that we're watching. We're watching the NFL, and this is a commercial for the NFL, and it's just like, why are we seeing this? But I get it. There, but well, there you have it.
All right. All right, number two.
Number two.
So my number two was Peter Dinklage and Morgan Freeman with the rap battle doing the hot Doritos and the iced Mountain Dew. So it was a combo, and Pepsi brands owns both, Frito Lay and obviously Mountain Dew is a Pepsi brand. So it was kind of like a combined thing. But I really liked, you saw Peter Dinklage walking down, and there's Buster Rhymes in the background helping him, and then they go over to Morgan Freeman. He's singing the Missy Elliott song, and
Yeah.
she made a cameo, and it was just an awesome, funny commercial. And anytime you have Morgan Freeman is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, yes, I agree. However, I will say, whenever I see Morgan Freeman, I want to hear his voice,
And
because I mean, Morgan Freeman,
it was about that time that Tommy didn't like Morgan Freeman in this
it's
commercial.
not true. I did like him, even though he had Missy Elliott's voice. That was funny. Um, but yeah, it was honorable mention for me. So our lists have diverged. They have the number fives, but well, there it is. So my number two was the Jeep commercial starring Jeff Goldblum and the whole Jurassic Park theme. Um, Dinosaurs. What can I say? I love dinosaurs. I'm gonna want to see the new Jurassic World movie. I don't care if it's good or not. As far as I just want to see dinosaurs. I don't care. So I thought it was clever. I thought it was a nice throwback, and they actually didn't need to start it off by showing him from the first movie. They could have shown him in the Jeep, starting off driving, trying to get away from it. But then he pulls in behind the dinosaur, and then he guns it and says, "How do you like it?" And then then they show him in the showroom just sitting there, and the woman asks him, "Would you like to test drive it?" And he's like, "I already did," in that Jeff Goldblum voice. And then they show him riding off into the sunset, still chasing the dinosaur, and the Jeep logo has Jurassic Park dinosaur heads for the where the EE is supposed to be. So I don't know. I like
Yeah,
that.
I it really didn't do anything for me as far as that.
Dinosaurs.
They're dinosaurs.
Oh,
I mean, I really didn't care for the last Jurassic World movie.
oh,
Although, uh, you know, I think with the next one bringing back Goldblum, might help. Who knows? I'll probably watch it anyways, just because. But
don't think he's going to have a major role in
I
that.
don't think he will either. But
They
I think,
show him in the courtroom and
but
stuff.
they're bringing him in to try to get that, bring some of that fan base that didn't come back with the last one.
I think quite a bit of the fan
Yeah.
base came back with the last one because it broke some box office records and made over $1 billion internationally, throughout the whole world. So it was a major success. Now, whether it was critically acclaimed or not doesn't matter
Right.
if it
No, I
makes
made
money,
money.
because
Yeah.
that's what the studio's looking at.
Right.
Does it make money? And that has proved that it does. I mean, you look at the Transformer movies. Are they
Right.
high quality? No. Do they make money? Yes.
And the latest ones prove that, with a decent director, I'm not saying it has to be a great director, but a decent director, Mark Wahlberg can act.
Now, not happening. The movie happening wasn't happening there.
The bees.
See what I did there?
Because I'm a science teacher.
The bees. You don't care about the bees? I'm
All
Tommy
right.
B.
All right, so you're number one.
My number one was actually Australia tourism commercial that presented itself at first as a movie trailer for Dundee, and then come to find out that there is not this movie Dundee, and you had even a cameo of Paul Hogan in there, and it was just all for this tourism ad for Australia, and I thought was really clever. I know they had some stuff preliminary leading up to it, but I hadn't seen any of it, so that was the first time I saw it, the drop of that, and I laughed. I thought it was clever. I thought it was funny, but and I was a little upset because now I want that Dundee movie. So
I will say Danny McBride in a Crocodile Dundee movie would be pretty cool.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, this one didn't make my list. It was an honorable mention. I had seen some of it leading up to it, and when I saw it, it was kind of presented that it was a trailer for a potential, sequel, remake, whatever. And then someone had alerted me to it, a couple days ahead of time that it was just they were setting it up for it to be a campaign. But yeah, I mean, it was funny. I loved the cameo by Paul Hogan. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an honorable mention for me.
What was your number
My
one?
number one was the Tide Meta ad with David Harbour.
The
Tide Meta ad with David Harbour from
okay.
Stranger Things. Yeah, so as I said, that would come back, and I thought that was my favorite out of all of them.
I did really enjoy that commercial with him in it, and,
Yeah.
but there was like a series of them.
See, like I said,
and they just super cut it together.
It just looked like one long commercial. So since having not seen it live, I took it as one commercial, and it just hit on so many different commercials throughout that I remember from different Super Bowls and on TV in general.
So okay, well then, what were some of your other honorable mentions?
So other ones that were honorable mentions that we hadn't talked about. There was one that really got me with the feels, and I almost put it on my list, but it was a Toyota one.
Yeah.
For the Paralympics with the little girl that was born without the bottom parts of her legs and without one hand, and and showing the odds of different things as she's growing up, or odds of a gold medal, and it was like 1,000,000,000 to 1, and by the time I got down to it, it was 1 to 1 because she's already a Paralympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
I that one really hit the feels and almost made the list.
It did. That was a good one. I think with my list, I tend to lean more towards the comical side.
Yeah,
what makes me laugh.
And that's generally what I did for the most part.
A great ad, a great commercial.
Another one that wasn't a comedy ad that I'll give an honorable mention to was the Kia ad with Steven Tyler.
Kia Stinger, new sports car. Yes.
Where he was driving backwards, and it brought him back in time to the younger version.
It's one of my honorable mentions as well. Steven Tyler.
There was a Michelob Ultra with Chris Pratt.
Saw that as well, and that's an honorable mention. It was a little flat for me. It was funny at the very end.
That one I didn't see the actual commercial, but I saw the setup on the app for whatever reason, where they showed him showing up to the studio, and my name's Chris Pratt. He's like, "Oh, you're over there," and they point to where the extras goes.
Yeah.
And then he was an extra in all these different scenes, which to me
that I didn't see is the other scenes. All
no,
that was
to
the extras, and that was it.
No, that was a setup for this actual commercial where there's all these different scenes, and there's like no one you recognize, and you see Chris Pratt in the background doing something.
I missed that. Totally missed
so
that.
that was a nice touch. I had the DeVitos, the M&M. And the other one that we didn't talk about was the Febreze one.
Yeah,
The bleep don't stink.
yeah. Well, his bleep don't sting.
But he's not at
So and so's a
he's not at
lawyer.
your party, so buy Febreze for your bathroom for your Super Bowl party. Being that for the last 15 or so years at someone's house or another, we've hosted it. Different people in our circle have hosted it. We always have a big gathering for the Super Bowl, so
Yeah,
it kind of
and some people's
has.
bleep does sting. Just saying. Not going to point out anybody specifically.
So what other ones that we haven't talked about were on your list?
As far as honorable mentions go, the Groupon, it made me laugh just because there's, I forget who the person's name is. She's a stand-up comedian, or she's a
Yeah,
comedian,
I don't remember.
but the whole thing about who doesn't want to support local business, and this rich guy doesn't want to support local business, and they got a couple football players outside his door, rings the bell, he comes up and he's in there knocking mom and pop businesses, and wants to take them out, and then they kick the football into them and stuff, and it's slapstick comedy, but it made me laugh. So it wasn't to me good enough to be in a top five, but I'll do an honorable mention. The other Toyota, the diversity commercial, where you've got the rabbi and the priest and the stuff like that, and they're all getting ready to go to the game. The end of the commercial was kind of flat, but the beginning part where they're all getting together, and the priest gets in the car and he's just, "What are you waiting for?" And he's like, "Seatbelt," and the priest is like, "Oh God," it just moments like that, and they pick up another gentleman, they're pulling away with the truck, and he's like, "Come on, guys, really?" They had some laughs for me in the beginning, but then when they got to the stadium and stuff, it just kind of,
Right.
and that's why it's not in the top five.
Okay. So were there any that kind of fell flat completely and you didn't care for?
You know, interestingly enough, Keanu Reeves was in a Squarespace commercial, and the only reason why I know it's a Squarespace commercial is because I had to go back and look it up. I thought it was a motorcycle ad. He's standing on his bike, and it was just weird. Now, there was another commercial that they released with Keanu Reeves prior to the Super Bowl that was actually much better, I thought. And that one I would have possibly put in my top five. But this one, I was just like, I didn't even know what they were selling. And but the one that they did prior to the Super Bowl, he was actually sitting on the bike instead of standing on it, and he's talking to himself. You hear the dialogue very clearly, going back and forth, and he passes by this truck where he can see his reflection. He's just looking straight forward, but his reflection's turning to him and talking to him. So you're seeing the conversation going back, and then he's in the clouds at one point, and so he's talking to himself. It was very strange and odd, but I actually like that one better than what they presented the
Hmm.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, the one from the Super Bowl. I don't know if I saw it because we definitely didn't see it during the game, and when I was looking them up, I guess I didn't come across that one. But it sounds like it wasn't. At least the one during the game wasn't all that good.
Well, what's something that fell flat for you or just didn't work
There's
for you?
actually two that I wrote down as my least favorite or didn't care for. The PETA one. The People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
Okay.
Um, Basically, this guy goes into a Catholic church and goes in to talk to his priest and give confession, and he's an advertiser for the meat industry, and he's confessing his sins because he's misleading people and getting them to eat meat through his job,
Sounds like somebody I'd like to know.
and the it was a PETA commercial because he should feel guilty because he's getting people to eat meat, which I just thought was weird. Um, and the other one, and I think it's more, I put it on there when they first come out with these commercials. The first one I got a little chuckle, but they've it's gone on for too long, and that was the whole Bud Light dilly dilly crap.
The Bud Light one, I'm not familiar with any of the
See it,
preceding
yeah.
ones, and so when I watched
Watching.
that, it really did nothing
Right.
for
I
me.
mean, they've been going on for the whole football season. They've been doing this. This
It's
guy is a king, and all the subjects bring him Bud Light, except in the first one, this one guy brings him a bottle of honey mead that he's been really into, and he's like, send him to the pit of misery because he didn't bring him Bud Light.
well,
And dilly dilly was a catchphrase, and unfortunately it's caught on with pop culture. I'm at work and people are walking around dilly dilly, dilly dilly, dilly dilly. It's like, no.
all right. So you stick with Bud, Wise, Go back to that.
Or just We don't need to have advertisements for beer flavored water. I mean, it's okay.
Beer flavored water. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had that as something that was just for me. It did nothing for me. That to me, when I saw it, the helmet, I was like, if that was green, it would look like it would look like Boba Fett. You know, just the way the cuts were on it. I thought they were trying to capitalize on that, and I also thought they were trying to capitalize on Game of Thrones, Vikings, and all those shows that are successful now. And to me, I was just like, eh. When I saw it, it really didn't do anything for me. And actually, the Dodge Ram Vikings commercial, "We Will Rock You," I was like, eh. They had some really neat visual
Yeah.
things going on, but for overall commercial, it just
Yeah. I agree with you.
meh.
All right. So before we wrap up, we focus mostly on products and you know services type stuff. There were a few trailers that showed. Um, in a separate video, we are going to talk about the solo trailer, the 45-second clip that dropped during the game, plus the minute and a half clip that dropped the following morning. So we'll talk about those in another video. But we also saw a trailer for season 2 of Westworld.
I actually intentionally ignored that because I haven't finished watching season one, so I averted
Okay.
my eyes and I looked
All
away.
right, let me scroll through my notes so I don't talk about that one. Um, there was Cloverfield Paradox.
That caught me by surprise because I had been hearing some things
There's
about that.
there's been talk about it supposedly was going to drop at any time, and like a year there's been little hints about it, and then out of the blue all of a sudden, hey, it's on Netflix after the game.
So when they did 10 Cloverfield Lane, that kind of out of the blue, it's like trailer drops in 1 month coming to theaters. And it's like, whoa. And the trailer for that looked good. The movie, watched it, and I enjoyed it. And I thought, yeah, it was kind of weird at the end, but it was still a really good movie. John Goodman, excellent performance there. Psychosis all the way. Oh, loved him in that. There is this whole mythos too on the internet where they have all these connections and things, and there's little hints within the movie itself that you can tie to the website where there's this fictitious company with all these subsidiaries that you will see in the various movies, and I'm sure in the new one. So you get in the Super Bowl, hey, in a couple hours, come watch this. We got it, and it's like, whoa, really?
Yeah,
So I
and
was
on
excited
Netflix
by that.
too. I
Yeah,
mean, not you don't even have to go to the theater
yeah.
to see it. And then the Jurassic World.
That trailer I enjoyed better than the actual that spot. That it was more of a spot than a full trailer.
Right.
They had already dropped a teaser or a full trailer, whatever it was, before, and I was looking at it going, okay, it's dinosaurs. I'm going to watch it, so I like that. Uh, and but this trailer I thought was actually better than the one that they released previously. So it again has got my attention.
All right. Is there any trailers I missed? Those are the four that I
There was a
had
couple
cut.
of, I mean, there was a number. You had Infinity War, you had Black Panther, you had a
That's
number of
right.
different things, but we already have had
Right.
trailers for that.
Yeah,
Red
I think that's why I
Sparrow,
didn't write them down because
new
they didn't resonate with
trailers.
me.
New trailers would be like for Dwayne Johnson and Skyscraper,
You mean Die Hard without Bruce Willis?
Sky Hard,
Yeah.
Skyscraper.
Yeah,
I got that from John Schnepp. Sorry, that's yours. Sorry.
I and I definitely stole the Die Hard without Bruce Willis from someone else online. I don't remember who it was, but yeah, I wasn't impressed. That was one that we actually did get to see
Yeah.
through the app, and I was kind of like, meh,
And there was also a Mission Impossible trailer with
meh.
Tom Cruise in it. Mission Impossible Fallout. I know that the movies have been getting better. I kind of dropped out at three. When I saw the third one, I was like, I'm out. And I keep hearing about great things about the last two that they did, Ghost Protocol and was it Rogue Nation?
Never saw them.
And they've been progressively getting better. They got really good directors they're working with and stuff. So I am interested in it, but the commercial, the I should say trailer didn't do that much for me. There were a couple, besides Westworld, there were a couple of other TV type series that they had trailers for, and one was for where is it? Jack Ryan on Amazon. So I've liked and enjoyed the various incarnations of Jack Ryan through the movies, starting off with Alec Baldwin in A Hunt for Red
Yep,
October. You had Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger with Harrison Ford.
yep.
Some of All Fears with Ben Affleck, and then Jack Ryan. or with Chris Pine, I think, was the last one that
I
they did.
believe so, yes.
And I've enjoyed them to various degrees. So I am very interested in seeing what they're going to do with a series now. New actor, don't know who it is.
John Krasinski, who's from the show The Office on TV. We actually talked about him in our football movies because he was in Leatherheads with George
Oh,
Clooney.
that's right.
And
Leatherheads.
I mispronounced his name in the podcast and didn't realize until I played it back. But it's John Krasinski.
What he said. I'll take your word on that.
I had seen that ahead of time.
Okay.
Um, I use a Fire Stick to watch Netflix and stuff on the TV, and that it's an Amazon device, so there's always huge ad right in your face when you first turn it on of all the
Okay.
upcoming Prime Video stuff.
And I use a Roku.
So I had seen that one ahead of time.
All right. Well, that's all I have to mention
Yeah,
for trailers.
that's all I got. Like I mentioned before, we're gonna do a separate video to talk about the Han Solo movie, the two pieces we got to start advertising that. But that'll probably be the next one that gets posted after this one. But until we get to that one, we'll see you next time. I'm Corey.
I'm
It's Tom.
Tommy. I just want to say also, don't forget to subscribe. Comment down below to join the conversation. If there's anything that you thought that we had missed as far as commercials go or trailers that you had enjoyed, please just join in the
Right.
conversation. And if there's other videos that you'd like to see us do and subjects to talk about within music, movies, TV shows, pop culture, or whatever, let us know. And also coming soon, when I say soon, I mean when the snow starts to go away, we're going to get into talking a little bit about grilling and smoking. So, for those of you who are into that, look for that too.
All right. We'll see you later. Bye.